To put this in perspective, a new Kaiser Family Foundation poll shows that Black adults are starting to come around to the vaccine, but still 35% say they won't take it. Doctors say you should do it like this. First, you're going to put on a surgical mask. As cases have gone up, many people have wondered, where have you been? We saw people smiling. We also saw some tears. Remember, this is just the latest pandemic precaution to be reversed. We first found out that more kids were being interviewed here at the sheriff's office. That's when I was having a one-on-one interview. The sheriff told me yesterday that just naming the schools would not have impeded this investigation. I understand. Some just brought themselves to sit here and to remember and pay their respects. Now, right now, the memorial is only open to invited guests. It's about creating your own experience. You can build your own lightsaber, your own droid. There's also an app that will let you unlock other secrets. And Vanessa, today I spoke to Orlando Commissioner Bakari Burns. He's working on that initiative, talking to national, state, and local leaders about how to educate folks in the community. To put this in perspective, a new Kaiser Family Foundation poll shows that Black adults are starting to come around to the vaccine, but still 35% say they won't take it. Bakari Burns says this pharmacy will likely house COVID-19 vaccines in a few months.
We estimate that over 50% of our patients would be qualified to get the vaccine in the first phase.
Because many Orange Blossom Family Health patients are either vulnerable due to health or living conditions or because they're essential workers. Are you planning to get the vaccine?
Yes.
And publicly to encourage other Black people to get inoculated. Some patients will take it willingly.
If it's going to keep me alive, yeah.
Others fear COVID-19.
My auntie had died from corona.
But also fear the vaccine. Are you going to take the vaccine?
No.
I don't want to jinx myself. So I said, no, I probably wouldn't get it.
Health experts say the vaccine has side effects, but won't give you COVID-19. UCF Associate Professor Dr. Rufus Barfield says these fears are rooted in American history, from doctors experimenting on slaves to using Henrietta Lacks cells without consent, and most notably, the infamous Tuskegee experiment. It was a government study started in 1932 that used Black men diagnosed with syphilis. The goal, study the untreated disease. The men were never told they had syphilis and never treated. It lasted 40 years.
So when we talk about a vaccination, there is deep historical context of mistrust, not just of white healthcare institutions, but amongst Blacks, Black physicians, Black healthcare workers.
He warns these images and even images of Black celebrities or President Obama getting a shot aren't enough.
It's critical that we, again, provide that education, but don't downplay the history of mistrust, but also the concerns that are on a lot of people's minds.
He plans to talk and answer questions via social media, face-to-face interactions, and anything in between. Now, part of that education effort is being real about that vaccine, real about the side effects and the unknowns. Researchers still don't know how often people will need to be vaccinated. Reporting live in Orlando. That's because, Vanessa, only rural districts had voluntary mask policies, which means we don't know what a voluntary mask policy would do to districts with urban cities like Orlando. This school year, when the school bell rang, most students had to wear a mask. Some parents were for it. Do you think it's necessary?
Yes, I do. I am very much pro-mask.
Others against kids having to cover up.
They just wore down on them, so we opted to just go fully virtual.
This dad was happy with Commissioner of Education Richard Corcoran's memo stating, quote, "The data shows us the district's face covering policies do not impact the spread of the virus. I requested the data from the Department of Education and received it in this email Thursday night, then shared it with public health statistician and Texas A&M Professor Emeritus Eric Solomon and Jason Salami, an epidemiologist and professor at the University of South Florida College of Public Health."
Based off that data, does it show that masks don't work in schools?
Yeah, so I go by not only that information, but the information that was also cited in the recent Morbidity Mortality Weekly Report by some very well-respected authors from the Florida Department of Health. And I did not see evidence that masks don't work.
The state looked at information from 27 Florida counties with optional face covering policies, all rural, the largest Marion County with 41,000 students.
It's important to realize that 93% of the population of students are in a county or a school district that did implement mask mandates.
Without info from any urban districts, Solomon and Salami say there's no data to confirm or deny mask effectiveness in schools. Now, for this story, we did once again ask to interview Commissioner Richard Corcoran, but that request was denied. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we're going to look at a CDC report that also looked at Florida schools and used some of that same information the state sent us, why it's recommending that masks still be used. Reporting live in Orlando, Cierra Putman, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
This is my original cast ID.
If you visit Kathy Carter's home,
And I have Walt and Mickey for my 45.
she'll happily share her magical memories as a Disney cast member, moments with princesses, families, and co-workers.
I love going to work every day.
Carter is currently furloughed, but her costume is pressed and ready.
Yeah, I've told him I'll go back and do anything except drive a bus.
She's been here since the beginning. As a child, she saw a motorcade pass by.
And all these black limousines went by.
It was November 15th, 1965. Walt Disney himself announced he would change Orlando forever.
But it will be the equivalent of Disneyland.
Did you realize what it meant when you heard about this announcement that Walt Disney World was coming to?
I had no idea.
Clueless, Disney could and would transform Central Florida. She visited Magic Kingdom with a friend 2 weeks after opening.
When we walked underneath the train station and I saw the castle, I was in tears. I said, I've never seen anything like this before.
When a Disney recruiter visited her high school,
I was like, oh, I have to go to that interview.
December 15th, 1971 was the start of a lifelong career. She started as a server at Town Square Cafe, now Tony's Town Square Restaurant.
I'm right here.
A goodbye photo before heading to Cinderella's royal table to keep serving.
What's that like?
That's just the ultimate dream. I mean, it can't get any better. I love it.
Right before the pandemic, an injury required her to move from full-time to part-time cast member. That's why after 49 years, she's still not back to work.
Do you know what number you are to get called back?
1,572.
50 years is a career goal.
It would mean the world to me. I was there in the beginning. I don't want to be there to see the 50 through.
Magic for families once more. Cierra Putman, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.